I spend so much time in my life listening to music, right? On Friday, the Clipse are dropping their album. Because the Clipse are dropping their album, I've been listening to Pusha T a lot. I don't know if it's just me, I like to do that. When I know someone's dropping an album, I listen to their old work, right? So I listen to Pusha T a lot. My favorite Pusha T album is Daytona. And I feel as though people don't talk about that album enough when it comes to talking about classic albums. Like when I think about that album, what I love about the album is when Pusha was talking about it, they asked him, yo, Push, why do you name it Daytona? I didn't know that Daytona was a Rolex, right? And what he's saying is that when he made the album, he had the luxury of time. Financially, he's set because he had good investments. He was doing some EDM records as well, and he was getting that money from those kind of crossover hits, right? And he's just been able to save well. He's not a big spender, right? So he's the president of Good Music as well at the time. He's got the luxury of making that album, right? And when he made that album, 7 songs, 20 minutes, I think that's a classic album. Like, that's probably one of the last albums I've heard that I would say are classic. Like, the only album that I've heard in the last few years that I would say GNX is damn near going to be an instant classic. But other than GNX, I don't remember hearing an album and I'm like, yo, that's classic. But Daytona, 7 songs, intro, if you know, you know, amazing. The games you play, the sample was crazy. Hard piano with Ross. I think Ross's verse was decent. What Would Meek Do? Good. But my favorite song on there, Comeback Baby. Now, when I heard this Daytona album, that's when I realized that Pusha was elite, right? Because Pusha, I think lyrically, this guy's very underrated, and there's a lot of things, that Pusha says that people kind of dismiss and they might not realize what he's saying. But if you break down his bars, this guy's saying a lot, right? He's got a line in Comeback Baby where he's like, if we go by connections made, I'll still climb ladders when complexions fade. Now, he says that line, you might think that he's saying some good rhymes, right? But if you listen to what he's saying, obviously Pusha T's a very dark-skinned guy, right? And obviously they would say that in the business, maybe due to racism and things like that, the higher up you get, maybe you got to be a certain skin shade, right? But he's saying that because of all the connections that he's got, even though he's dark-skinned, he's still able to make all of these kind of deals because of the connections that he's got. And I was just like, bro, that's an amazing bar. And he had like, I think he's like, white on white, that's the Tesla. Black on black, that's the Tesla. He just had these bars which are just amazing. And I'm just like, yo, Santeria. And then Infrared as well. That Infrared song changed the course of hip-hop history. Putting in, it was written like Nas and it came from Quinton. All of this stuff. And I think that in that song, because when he did the story of Adidon against Drake, I think that he was able to plant the seeds in Infrared when he's talking about people tap dancing. They didn't recognize Hove until Annie. He was kind of setting it up that when he went at Drake, he's going to talk about Drake, not thinking he's black enough and all that kind of stuff, man. So, I don't know, because the Clipse are dropping, I wanted to just talk about some of Pusha's old work. And what's crazy is that I've never, because Clipse is not really my time, right? So Hell Have No Fury and Lord Willing, I've gone back and I've listened to them now and they do sound pretty good. But for me, it sounds a bit dated because it was like over 20 years ago. Especially Lord Willing being from 2002, right? So I didn't really know too much about Malice, No Malice, right? When I heard Ace Trumpets, I was like, yo, Malice is nice. But when I heard So Be It, I know that the talk in general was that, yo, Malice is better than Push, and he always was, right? But I'm more invested in Push's character. When I heard his verse on So Be It, No Malice verse on So Be It, that's verse of the year. Like when he's like, he says something, he's like, God did, you ain't Khaled. No more Neptune, so P Saturn or whatever. He's saying all these bars and I'm like, yo, bar for bar, Malice is cold. So I'm super looking forward to this album, man. The rollout for the album has been amazing. They've been doing the journalism thing. I think it's going to be a classic album, man. This is one of the few albums that could be an instant classic. We Don't Trust You by Future and Metro. I feel like the way that was set up was that was going to be a classic. It might be a trap classic. I don't know if it will be like a hip-hop actual classic, man, but I'm expecting big things from the Clipse on Friday. I just wanted to talk about that because I was listening to Pusha, but Daytona, one of the most underrated albums, classic hip-hop album, 7 songs, 20 minutes. Amazing, man. Push is just elite.